Welcome to the Urban Uplander Podcast. This collaborative series, created by Urban Uplander Pet Care LLC, was designed to facilitate continual learning. Join your host, Melinda Benbow, and her special guests weekly to learn all things about pet care, dog sports, bird dog training, and so much more.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Urban Uplander Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Melinda Benbow, and I'm here with my husband and co-host, Kyle. Kyle, how are you?
I'm fantastic. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. I miss you so much. And I know we have a lot to talk about today. Stemming off of our last episode, which was prepping for our first AKC dog show. The dog show has come, the dog show has went, and now we are here doing our recap. You are living in Alabama, as our listeners may know. So we get to not just tell them about it, but I get to let you know how the whole event went.
Yeah, this is kind of a recap for us as well. I know we've talked a little bit. You've been on the road mostly the last, how long was the trip again? 12 hours, 10 hours? So you just got back yesterday. You've been kind of getting comfortable today, but I'm happy to hear all about it, what you did, how the experience was, what you learned, what you saw, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, so it was a long trip. It wasn't 10 hours. It was 5.5 hours there, 5.5 hours back. A little bit over 5.5 hours there because I did drive through like the worst blizzard I've ever driven through. But it was a pretty long trip. Also considering the fact that we decided to do some nighttime driving in the blizzard, it kind of just had a little added extra scary effect to it. But we got there in one piece. So we took off around 5:30 on Friday evening. Actually, no, we did not take off around that time. I still had to take dogs home. Still had to get Courtney to my house, which is my friend that traveled with us. We still had to load up the car. So we started taking my daycare dogs home around 5:30. And then Courtney got to my house. And we were able to really hit the road by around 8. We had really smooth sailing until we got to Illinois, and then you could kind of see the weather was changing a little bit. And then by the time we hit Wisconsin, we were in full-blown blizzard. I mean, just a white out and icy, non-plowed roads. The last 2 hours of my trip, I was definitely white knuckling it. It was maybe not worth the risk for a puppy show, but still really happy that we did it. So we made it there in one piece. We got in around 1:30, and yeah.
Definitely an all-timer of a trip. Remember that one time we drove to the blizzard for the puppy show? Well, now that the show is concluded, can you share your reflection on Eunice's debut? How did she handle the experience? And were there any unexpected moments during the event?
Yeah, she handled the whole thing really well, from getting to stay in a hotel room to the travel itself. She did well in the venue, being around so many other dogs within that space, so many other people. So in her crate, she did a really good job of, settling and remaining quiet, which, I don't expect of her at all. She could cry if she wanted, I would definitely help her through it, but she definitely did a very good job. And so, we got there. And once we got there, Courtney still had a bit of grooming she needed to do with her dog. I still needed to do a lot of grooming with Eunice because I'm not a groomer like Courtney is, and I'm still very much learning my breed's grooming needs. So fortunately, my breeder was there to help with that. Her and another one of her puppy buyers, Kayla, definitely took a moment to whip Eunice into shape. They did a lot of work on her, and I'm telling you, by the end of it, she looked like a real show dog. She handled that well for her first real grooming experience. She obviously wasn't wild about it. They did a wonderful job helping her through it, as I was really helping Courtney at that time. So kudos to them for really helping us out in a time crunch, in a new situation. So other than that, she handled the ring really well. I have done a lot of training to this point. We've done some handler classes. We've done a lot of stacking practice. And we've done a lot of incorporating food reinforcement, or in the dog show world, what they call bait. So I did use my bait, which isn't really a normal thing for my breed. But again, at this age for puppies, we want to make it just a wonderful experience. So I do still use a lot of food at this stage to help reinforce her for being in the ring, moving around the ring with me, standing nice and still, allowing the judge to examine her and touch on her and look at her mouth and other attributes. So altogether, she did really well. I think the hardest part for her was when we went to Best in Show for Puppy, because we ended up getting Best in English Setter, which was really cool for like we got Best in English Setter for Puppy. Let me clarify there.
Awesome.
And then we also got Best. I know, right? I was so excited. We ended up getting Best in Sporting Group. Oh, Alexa. We got Best in Sporting Group for Puppy. And then that means that we went to Best in Show for Puppy. So we were in there with all the other breed groups. Okay, so she ended up going to the Best in Show ring, which means that she was in the ring with all the other dogs that got best in their group. So she got Best in Sporting. So like non-working and herding and all the other dog groups were in the ring with her. So it's a lot of dogs, a lot of puppies in one ring. So it's a bit distracting for all the young dogs. She did have a little bit of some distractions at that point, as she did have a very young husky behind her that she was super interested in. So it's a little bit hard to get her to stand still. But the judges understand that they are puppies and that, you know, they are going to be a little bit distracted in the ring with other dogs. So yeah, I think that was probably our hardest part, besides the grooming aspect, is again, I'm still getting to learn that. So yeah.
Awesome. And you talked a little bit about this grooming process while you're there, and I obviously it seems like it's kind of a big part of the show as you're preparing your pup to be at like its best as it's kind of being judged. Given that there was a lot of learning as you went with the grooming process, what are some key lessons you've taken away from the experience? And are there any specific grooming techniques or tips that stood out to you during the show?
Yeah, so grooming wise, whether it was just from other people's experiences over the weekend and my own, is start your preparation early. You know, a lot of these breeds need a lot of grooming, and, you know, structure means a lot for when your dog is being judged in the show ring for your breed standard. And grooming definitely helps add to the full presentation that we're passing forward when it comes to structure. So understanding your dog and what attributes we really want to showcase, or which we want to kind of curve. And you can do a lot of that by good grooming. I do know that I need to invest in some more grooming supplies. I need to take time to save money and get some good shears and get some good clippers. And as I got started in this, you know, you have to start somewhere. So I'm definitely an advocate for not just jumping to the most expensive stuff out there. I do believe in buy once, cry once, but there's still like a fine line to toe of these things do cost a lot of money, and sometimes you have to start somewhere. So I started with just some Amazon shears and clippers, and I've now learned that I do need something a little bit better to help me. I've found a couple other rakes and products that I think are going to work really well for the setter, just based off of getting to watch my my breeder really work on Eunice and seeing the tools that she's using and what really seemed to work for her and for the breed itself. So technique wise, I think raking is a big part of getting an English setter's top coat to lay down nicely. And you need to be aware of when you're doing it. Is this right before a bath? Is this fresh after a bath? Because obviously you do want to have a little bit of texture in that coat in order to help get that hair out. So, you know, it was neat. Even on the rake, she had a rubber band kind of looped around the rake teeth, just to kind of help get some of that extra hair out. So just like little things like that. I was like, okay, I see how this is helping. So yeah, I think that's the main couple things is prepare ahead of time, right? And not over groom, because you can't add more hair. You can always take a little bit more off, but you can't add more if you mess up. So start early, but also not doing too much at the same point. And yeah.
Okay, that sounds cool. Sounds cool. What are like some of the features of an English setter that has to be kind of groomed, or what are the parts you're trying to show there?
Yeah. So before we went, she was like a woolly mammoth, you know, a lot of hair. And what we really wanted was to get a lot of the top of her back to lay down nicely. So as a puppy with that puppy hair, you could see kind of it waves on her back, and you really want to get all those waves out so the hair lays nice and smooth over the top of the jacket. Over time, her, she'll have a skirt and bib that kind of start filling in. So as of now, we don't touch those furnishings. We don't touch the back of the leg furnishings on the front or the back. But we do clean the feet still, get those little Grinch feet out of there, clean the bottom of the paw pads so they have a nice grip to the floor. The judge obviously doesn't look at the bottom of her paw pads, but because they do have to run around on a bit of a slick surface, it's nice knowing that she can get a little bit of traction by having the bottom of her feet shaved out. Other than that, the top of the ears do get shaved down and blended into the top of the head and back of the neck. And then with that, we're also shaving down this front part of their neck area, kind of to right above their chest bone there. And then you want to make sure you nicely blend those areas so it looks nice and uniform. I think her potty area should, sanitary areas cleaned up a bit just to kind of make it look a bit nicer back there. But again, we're not touching the tail. We want that hair to grow in there so we can eventually give her an adult cut. So those are the main things that for a puppy that we worried about, just getting some of that excess hair out of there, getting that hair to lay down. And really just getting a good put together look that accentuates all those features that you want to see in an English setter.
That's awesome. So, how did your preparation regarding the rules contribute to your experience, and were there any surprises along the way?
I am a stickler for following rules. They have the premium and there's a lot of rules listed there. What crates to bring, what crates not to bring, what things are accepted in the venue, what things aren't, and so on and so forth. And we made sure that we followed that. I think maybe a lot of people don't look at the rules the way I do, because I was like, it looks like some of these things aren't really like that big of a deal because I'm seeing them. But I think there's probably also a little bit of leniency that was happening due to weather accommodations and stuff like that. So, I think that either way, I did best by myself and my dog by going through the rules and making sure that we were following them and prepared. Me, I don't want to give anybody a reason to say anything negative to me or about me. So yeah, we made sure we went through everything. It was a really great club. It was the Winnegamie Kennel Club, and they had a wonderful setup there at Sunnyview Expo Center, and the club members were so nice. The person who was kind of like the head person of the show, I'm the name of that person is like the title of the person is escaping my head, as well as the name of the person, but so kind, so helpful, looked so familiar. I kept telling you, I don't know where I know you from. I know you from somewhere. And everyone that we got to meet from the club was so nice. They also had food there on site. Yeah, they had food there on site, and it was like the best menu I've ever seen at a dog show. I know we did a lot of prepping to make sure we had food and, little munchies with us, so we didn't have to spend too much money, but the club made it hard. They pulled beef sandwiches and pulled turkey and like a full, barbecue side spread, all the desserts you could think of. It was just, they really put on a good show. So yeah.
They're like vendors, or are they like
So they have vendors there, but this was just the club. Like some clubs will sell hot food or lunches to help
okay.
raise money for their clubs for other shows and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah,
they actually had
right.
a kitchen there where you could buy food.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Huh.
so I loved that. Again, we got to meet a lot of people. It was a really good time, and yeah.
Yeah, no, we talked a little bit about that kind of going into it. Like one of your goals was connecting, and we know you have the Midwest dog sporting groups, but just other connections that you've had through Facebook and inside the dog
Mhm.
world. It seems like there's a certain kind of
A
similar.
lot of people online.
Right. So, how did the networking aspect go during the Oscar show? Did you make any meaningful connections, and were there any standout moments in meeting fellow enthusiasts?
Absolutely. I met so many people. First and foremost, I got to meet, so specifically the Midwest Dog Sport crew, I got to meet so many members from that online community, which was so cool to see because, I just made that group like not even a year ago. And to see so many people there in my crew was
Yeah,
awesome. And also to see them representing our crew so well and being so kind and helpful was a breath of fresh air because ultimately that's what the Midwest Dog Sport crew is for, radical kindness within the dog sport community. And they did a wonderful job exemplifying that. Um, I also got to meet, which was probably one of the best parts, was a Midwest crew member who made our logo this year for the group, was also at
yeah,
the
yeah,
show. They are a member of the Winnegamie Dog Club. So they were
yeah.
there working and got to meet them.
That's awesome.
And we got to have dinner together and just so nice. She took a whole bunch of videos of me and Eunice for me because it's hard when you travel and you don't get all the photos and videos you want. So that was super helpful. That's Ashley Gorski. And then Ashley Gorski's best friend, Kayla, is actually the owner of Eunice's sister, Juniper, that she was in
Okay.
the ring with. Setters. So got to also meet her and meet Juniper, which is again Eunice's sister. So super cool. Loved meeting them. They both came out to eat with us that night on Saturday. We went to a restaurant that had like a really neat outdoor, lit dome and had a really nice special dinner together. And then aside from that, it really was just nice meeting the judges. I got to
Yeah,
know my judge a little bit more, learn about him and his dogs. And yeah, it was nice meeting people. I really can't stress enough how nice the English setter community is,
yeah,
especially meeting other breed communities. And, this is no shade. I think people understand that every breed community is just a little bit different. But it was certainly reaffirming that I'm in the right breed for sure.
yeah, yeah. No, so I guess I know they kind of do it by breed as far as the judging goes, but how's it kind of like set up for you to like meet other people? Because I can imagine it's a pretty big arena with lots of dogs. So
Yeah.
on one hand, you're kind of going from place to place. On the other hand, you're also probably grouped together. So I guess like how does that work as far as being able to talk to other people and engage with other people?
Yeah, so when you get there, there are grooming stations. So there's like an area where you can reserve a grooming spot, and then
Uh-huh.
there's also an area where it's kind of like a first come first served. And then it's like you see your ring times, and everybody kind of gathers at Shiggy, please. Yes. Everyone kind of gathers ringside before they have to go in. So there's a little bit of talking and mingling there. And you know me, I'm going to chit chat. I'm always going to strike up a conversation with whoever's next to me. So it was easy to do that ringside. It was easy to do it with the people that were near us. Why are you looking at the wall? It was easy to do that at our grooming station as well. like right behind us, there was Italian Spinoni people, which was cool because we watch a couple Italian Spinonis, and we're also in the sporting dog world. So it was really neat to meet people that have similar breeds than what we're used to, that also participate in the other circuits we participate in, like NAVDA and stuff like that. So, I got to talk with people around me, and you have a lot of downtime, especially when you only have one breed and you're not a professional handler there with like 6 to 10 different dogs that you're trying to get in and out of rings. It's really easy to make the time to go chit chat with people, to talk to vendors, to help people out if they need help. So it was probably a bit easier for me than it is for a lot of people, because a lot of these people do come with multiple dogs and are really, they're working. Whereas I'm not saying it's not work for us, but I'm definitely not a professional handler by any means. And this is my own hobbyist dog. So yeah, it was probably a bit easier for me to mix and mingle than for a lot of people.
Absolutely. So overall, looking back at the Oshkosh show experience, what are some highlights and key takeaways for both you and Eunice?
So highlights wise, number one, we got our first experience, and it was a good experience. And as we both know, as a dog trainer, everything is about creating a good experience. The more fun I have, the more I'm going to want to show up. The more fun Eunice has, the more she's going to want to show up. So it was a great experience on that level. Plus, it's pretty reinforcing when you get best English setter puppy in your first show and then move on to, best sporting puppy. So it's really reinforcing when you do have a decent level of success your first time around. It's not always going to be that way, and it's not that way for a lot of people. But it was definitely a highlight for us and really made weathering a blizzard definitely worth it. But yeah, definitely highlight wise, that's what I would say.
That's awesome. And are there any adjustments or plans you're considering for future events based on what you've learned from this experience?
Yeah, I probably won't be driving in too many other blizzards. I'm definitely going to make sure that we are being safe and cautious. It definitely seemed worth it for me to make this my first dog show, knowing that I would have so much support there, being a friend to travel with me, my breeder there, so many people within my online community. It was worth it, especially for the fact that we did make it there okay. Adjusting wise, I think I'm going to pack lighter. I did not use a lot of what I brought. It was wonderful being prepared, but I think a lot of it wasn't necessary. I think for me, I really like to plan and prep meals and have things prepared and ready, but you realize that even when you bring stuff, there's still just a little bit of work you have to do with getting the cooler into the venue, getting your meal prepped after, you're ready to eat. So I kind of think I'm going to start allowing myself to participate in eating those meals that are at these events. Number one, it just makes it easier to just go grab that meal real quick from the vending area. And then number two, it supports the club. This money directly goes to these clubs being able to do more in the future. So why not support it, right? And then on top of that, I'm just going to keep working at becoming better with grooming my breed so I can be a little bit more prepared on that front. Things do get adjusted when it comes to dog shows. We had a 3-hour delay, and then it's not that all the ring times were pushed back by 3 hours. It was a 3-hour delay to start, but now we're playing catch up as fast as possible. So things change and adjust, and you have to be ready for it. So definitely something that I considered for the future is to just, if the day starts at 8, I'll probably just be there at 8. Worst come to worst, I'm just can run around helping other people. You know what I mean? But yeah, other than that, I think that a lot of our planning and prepping went to, played out well. So it was smooth. It definitely could have been smoother, but I have no complaints.
That's awesome. That's good to hear. No, again, it sounds like you had a good time. Sounds like it was a great learning experience. It sounds like Eunice did well. She is a beautiful girl. We did get her for these purposes, so it's glad that everyone else agrees with our with our assessment of her. And yeah,
There may be people in the future that don't agree, but
yeah.
we'll keep at it.
It's our officially 2 weeks into the year. We had our first event, and yeah, we have another one coming up here shortly.
Absolutely. Indy Winter Classic will be there participating. She will be in a new age class. So we did 4 to 6 months in this first show, which is beginner puppy. And now she'll be moving to 6 to 9 month for this next show. So a new class, and she does get to start accumulating points now at this stage towards, championship. I believe, if I am wrong, I will put that in show notes as something to correct. But I do believe she starts collecting points as of this next show if she does well. So I'm super excited to see how that goes. Bonus, no blizzards we have to drive through because this venue will be 5 minutes down the road from us. And it's a 5-day show. So we should be able to get a lot of experience and be able to alleviate some of that extra stress of traveling as well.
Fantastic. Yeah, I'll be in town for that one as well.
Yeah, Super Bowl weekend and, overlaps with Indy Winter Classic. So we'll have you back in town and hopefully you can come check us out one or a couple of those days and see your wife and your daughter in the ring and just really get to experience what a dog show is truly like. It's fun. I enjoy it and I can't wait to do it again. So, that was, our main recap on the on the Winnegamie Dog Club show, which was our first AKC dog show. We had a blast. We made it back last night a little bit later than I would like. I got to catch up on a little bit of sleep today, but I can't wait for the next one. So I guess that closes us out for today. I do want to take a moment to shout out our Patreon members. We appreciate you all. Again, our Patreon helps us get a little extra money to continue to make content like this. We have a lot of great training resources on there. So thank you so much to those of you who are our members. And if you do have questions about how to sign up, definitely let us know. Feel free to check us out on Facebook and Instagram. Give us a follow and a like. You can also see us on YouTube. And really, if you type Urban Uplander in the search engine, I'm sure a lot of our stuff will pop up. We have a lot floating out there. But other than that, Kyle, we missed you at the show, but I'm so happy we got to tell you about it.
Absolutely. No, I'll be there for the next time. And yeah, I'm looking forward to more adventures this year and more recaps.
Wonderful. Well, we do have so much on our Excel sheet, so we'll have plenty more episodes to come, including other things such as informative pieces and breed overviews and so much more. So thank you all again for tuning in, and we will see you soon.
Thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode of the Urban Uplander Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please give us a like and subscribe. Don't forget to follow Urban Uplander Pet Care on Instagram and Facebook for more pet care and upland hunting content.